Hello, gentle marketers. Welcome to the Gentle Business Revolution podcast, a show where we talk about marketing your business by disrupting the current marketing paradigm and changing it to a gentler approach, one that's based on empathy and kindness. I'm Sarah Croce. I'm the host on this show, and this is the second part of a two-part episode with Leisa Peterson. If you missed the first part, make sure to listen to episode 47 also on this show. So today we have Leisa Peterson back, and we're talking about her new book, The Mindful Millionaire. And in this part, we're going to dive a bit deeper into her unique approach to healing your money story. And we'll talk about her I Prosper process. She's going to take us through each letter of this acronym and the 7 chakras and much more. Real quick reminder, Leisa Peterson is on a mission to help 1 million people elevate their financial consciousness by realizing their true value and creating financial security for themselves. As a money coach, business consultant, and spiritual teacher, Leisa hosts the Mindful Millionaire podcast, as well as virtual workshops and life-transforming retreats. Her masterful blend of sound financial strategy and mindfulness training helps people break free of patterns of lack, scarcity, and money fears, allowing them to finally lead the rewarding, fulfilling, and abundant lives they most desire. So without further ado, here's the second part of this conversation. Hello. We're back with Leisa Peterson, author of the Mindful Millionaire book. If you missed the first episode, that's episode 47. Make sure to listen to that one as well, because that's the kind of the introduction to this topic, and it will help you understand what we're talking about today. Hi, Leisa. It's good to have you back.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
This is fun to do these double episodes. I was just telling you that offline, and I think it's great to be able to go deeper into the topic, because otherwise it just becomes kind of this book pitch, and I'm like, no, but I want to really go deep into the topic. So today we'll go, like I said, deeper into your book and your unique approach to healing money stories. So what would you say if you were asked how your approach is different compared to, all these other money coaches out there?
I'm sure there's parallels, in all the work that we're doing, but I think what is different here is because I am a certified financial planner, I have a very practical way of thinking about money, very grounded in what needs to change. And I think also because I went off and did a lot of self-discovery on my own, and then also teaching spiritual concepts for almost 20 years, what I am very intrigued in is not just the superficial stuff of Think and Grow Rich, which had its time and place in history, but about the importance of learning how to teach yourself what it means to release things that are no longer serving you. And from there, moving forward to create a financial plan that is tied to your deepest, most important core values. And so bringing the both and, the yin and the yang, bringing that together to create a comprehensive, holistic process. And that was really important to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think when I first came across your podcast, the first edition, The Art of Abundance, what really also resonated with me is that you're not part of these money coaches who, talk about manifesting and in mantras to get money, and it kind of does the law of attraction movement. I was like, oh, this is so refreshing. This is not that kind of movement, but it's like you said, it's yin and yang. So it's the very practical financial kind of approach mixed with the meditations and the chakras, and that's what I'd like to go into a bit more now is the chakras, and then also your I Prosper process that you cover in the book. But you have this chakra quiz on your website, and after I'd ask you to share it. But if you had to pick a chakra, one that's most often blocked when it comes to money, which one would that be? What's the chakra that causes the most problems in terms of the money stuff?
When I even look at the results on the quiz, I would say the sacral chakra comes up pretty frequently. And keep in mind, I'd say, 70% of my community is probably women and 25-30% men. So the sacral chakra is a feminine chakra to begin with. And it's all about creativity and deep worthiness of like, I am worthy of having a desire, to enjoy life. I'm worthy of having money and building success for myself in whatever way that means. And so that one in particular comes up a lot.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting how it's also the chakra for creativity, because that's also what I think is often blocked in terms of marketing. When we think about marketing and finance, actually they're quite related, and there's this blockage in marketing. I say you have to really turn on your creative brain, and so often if the sacral chakra is blocked, well, then that probably becomes more difficult. And the reason it's blocked is because it's this outside definition of success, and it's this outside idea of this is how marketing is done. So I find it just very interesting that they're so related in a way. But please do share the link to where people can find that quiz. But because I think it would be interesting for my listeners.
Yeah, well, because it has a long URL, we might have to give them the link because it doesn't have an abbreviated site. Yeah. That's a good idea, though.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just wealthclinic.com on your website. They can find it, right?
Yeah, they can find it on that front page. Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe for people who have never heard of the chakras, maybe you can just kind of quickly go through them. And then from there, we go into the I Prosper process.
Beautiful. So the chakras go back thousands of years, originated from teachings in India, Hindu teachings, Patanjali being the teacher that I think introduced this idea. But there are many more than the 7 primary ones, but I focus on those because it keeps it simple. And they each take us through the energy of what it means to be a mature human being. So each of them are a step along the maturation process. And they're spinning discs of energy that are ethereal, right? You're not going to see them on an X-ray machine, but they're really these teachings that have stood the test of time. They're coming back into popular awareness because they are so effective in teaching us about, what worked when we were growing up and what might have gotten short-circuited, and how might the short-circuiting of that energy be affecting all areas of our lives. I just happen to focus in on money because money is like a proxy for everything else. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And we can see, what I've found is sometimes the chakras can be so ethereal that they're hard to kind of get your arms around or get your head around. And I help people do that by explaining money in terms of chakras. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I have this visual in front of me with the Buddha, and then there's this rainbow of colors, right? So why don't you, and the sacral chakra, we already said, so that's the second one. Why don't you give us the names of all of them? And I'll make sure to also include a link to a visual where people can see it.
Beautiful. So the root chakra is red. It's at the base of the spine. The sacral chakra is orange, and it's in the area of the tummy, in the sexual organs, the reproductive organs. Moving up into the third chakra, it's the solar plexus, the power chakra. The moving into the heart space, the center of the chest is green heart chakra, focused on love and appreciation. The throat chakra is the next one. So number 5, it's sky blue in color. It's around trust and significance. Coming into the brow, so the area right between your eyebrows and connected to the pineal gland inside of the brain, right? This is the brow chakra. This is intuition and integration is how I teach about it. And then the crown, and that's indigo in color. And then the crown is like lavender with white specks of brilliance. And this is the divine connection. So this is like everything beyond, the heavens or God or spirit or whatever you kind of think of that. Mother Nature even can be both down at the bottom because we connect to her there, and we might connect to her in a very divine way. So that's the spectrum.
Yeah. And so how do these 7 chakras integrate with your process, which is I Prosper, or just in general with money?
Yeah. So I Prosper is inspired by the chakras. Even though it's 8, it's like each of the letters stand for a different step, but there's one added, which is intention. So maybe if I go through that, I can explain it and save some time. I Prosper, again, so you start with intention, saying, what is it that I want to change about money and my relationship with money? Get really clear, gain some clarity of what you want to be different or better or improved. And then P stands for the root chakra, interesting enough. And P is about pattern. How is money showing up in my life? What's the pattern that I see over and over and over again? And what might be some of the reasons why? And you mentioned this earlier, like we don't want to, or in our previous discussion, you don't want to blame yourself. Like this isn't all about being hard on yourself, but maybe there've been some messages and some conditioning that you've received in your life that are causing you to live a certain way with money. So P is for pattern, and it's a very root chakra thing. Like let's get grounded and figure out what's going on here. That's the energy behind it. And it deals with safety and security. So like, do I have a strong foundation beneath me? The sacral chakra is reclaiming your feelings. So I have noticed that part of the reason we don't get in tune with making changes in our lives is because we're really out of touch with our deepest sense of feelings, which is different than just emotions. Feelings are at a deeper level, what I call feeling sense. And so I teach about what that means. But when we open our feeling sense, we're actually opening the sacral chakra at the same time. So it's kind of cool. That's the R for reclaiming. So I, P, R, and then we come to O. This is opportunity. And I like to bring in this discussion of the yin and the yang because this is now in the pole in the solar plexus, the power chakra. It's like, I think that we have forsaken our understanding of what it means to be powerful in the world. And I use the yin and yang concepts to teach people how to become more powerful, not forcibly powerful, but like powerful in their own right, more of their own sovereign being. It ties into money because what I've seen is a lot of times people don't feel empowered to manage their money. They don't feel that power. And so if I can show you the pathway to power, I can also at the same time show you how you can use that energy in a really positive way in better managing your money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it reminds me of my second P in the mandala that stands for personal power. So yeah, like you said, it's not about power over something, but it's standing in your own power and just really realizing who you are, probably also, and how much you can really be in charge of. And for this topic, it's about money. For my topic, it's about marketing and really own that.
That's so cool. Yeah, there's so many opportunities because when we're absent power, when we feel like we're being taken advantage of or victimized, we actually become more powerless as opposed to powerful.
Right.
And so the more we know about ourselves, I think the more our natural power comes out. And that's all we're trying to do, is help people do that.
Right.
So moving into the heart, which is story, the S stands for story here. So I prosper. We're into that stage. I guess this is the fifth stage, fifth stage. And this is all about that story we were talking about in the last episode. What is a money story? What is your money story of the past? And is that actually what you want your money story to be going forward? So that's opening the heart, being really in tune with yourself, and understanding how love and appreciation fit into your story. Because many of us are trying to get, feel more like approval, appreciation. This ties into pricing, actually. So the heart chakra for me is the pricing conversation. So then we go into the throat, and this is the second P. So this is all about permission. Like, I need to give myself permission to go out and create the things that I really want. I've noticed in my work that many people do everything else really great, but they never do this one step, which is like, I am officially giving myself permission to go create what I want. Does that make sense, Sarah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's
And
like
it's also
for marketing.
No,
marketing, I also say, give yourself permission to do it differently from whatever everybody else is doing. And it's the same thing with creation. It's the same thing with money. So yeah, permission is a big one.
And then we move into E, evidence, which is at the brow chakra. And it's kind of like you're getting towards the end of the symphony where things start to come together. Everything's starting to integrate here. I mentioned this was like, this is the enoughness that we've all been wanting to feel all our life. And I've found that this enoughness comes from not negating the importance of taking care of yourself financially, but embracing it and realizing that there's magical guidance that comes into our life, whether you call it synchronicity or God or spirit or guides. Like, it doesn't matter what that takes that place for you. What I've found is when you bring the spiritual or the ethereal into understanding and you respect your intuition, you become a wiser human being by also listening to the practical elements of life. So this is all about integration.
Yeah. So we're moving higher up in the consciousness as well, right? In a way.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. And even the nuances as you go higher up, they become more subtle. And, you could be working on one of these for many years to integrate it and make different choices. With money, when you're in these upper chakras, you're really tuning into, how do I want my money to be invested, for example, on the planet? How do I want my business strategically to look if I want to only make the world a better place through all of my actions? Like, what are those choices that I'm making? Do you see how it's not about how much money you make? It's about, maybe you might even be willing to take less of a return on your investments because you know that what you're doing in the world is you're investing in the world rather than it being all about you and how much money you're going to make.
Yeah. Yeah. You're evolved. It's in a way, I'm also thinking of the Maslow's pyramid. You have evolved also to this different level of self-actualization. So it's important what, the money is important for you and yourself, but also for everybody else out there. So you're no longer in this survival bottom chakra. You're now, up there, and there's enough. You feel enough, and you know that there's enough. And so you're ready to, share with the world and just look at the bigger picture in a way.
And it's a beautiful vantage point, right? To be looking at life from that direction. But I think if you're financially, I want to be clear too, that when we are struggling financially and we don't know how we're going to pay the bills next month, it's really hard to make a pronounced difference in the world at the level that many of us want to.
Right.
So taking care of your human responsibilities so that you have the time and space to do these things that we want to be doing in the world. Like it's not either or, but I just bring it up because many of us know what it's like to be in financial hardship. And I like to remind people that sometimes in spiritual circles, it's all about being super spiritual and almost like escaping the human experience and not taking care of your responsibilities. And I've seen that can backfire on us, right? That we're here having a human experience and we can be very love oriented and, service consciousness, but we want to do both.
Yeah, there's the yin and yang again. The yin is, is kind of the spiritual realm, but we are on this earth and we still need to make enough money to pay our bills. Yeah, I mean, yes, the divine and Mother Earth will somehow take care of us, but we still need to pay our bills. So in a way, that's where I always get lost. I'm like, wait a minute. Yes, I want to believe in that, but I don't see the divine showing up at my door and paying the bills. And yet that's where I'd love to be, but I'm not there yet. I think that's why I like your approach. It's this yin and yang. It's this dance between the being and the doing, and it's a both and. It's not either or.
And we don't have to make either of them wrong, but
Right.
The more conscious we become, the easier it is to live and have our actions echo the core values inside of us.
Yeah. All right. We are at the R and everybody's like, what's the R? What's the R?
Reinvention. It's all about reinvent, because no matter who you are, where you've come from on this planet, my impression is there is always an opportunity to become a better person and to up-level our consciousness. And I encourage people to think, well, what do you want? What do you want it to look like going forward? How can you bring your goals and your habits into alignment so that every day you're springing out of bed and you're knowing that you're going to be taking actions that align with your deepest sense of purpose and truth and enjoyment, right? So it's bringing it all together. It's connected to the crown chakra. So there is this divine connection. I will say that we touched on it last time, just a moment ago, but confirming what I saw is that there is sometimes this desire to take extremes. So extreme crown chakra is like what would be called overactive, is that there's only God. God will provide for me. I don't need to do anything. As long as I donate to my church, then I will be taken care of. Like very extreme, one direction.
Right.
Or the other extreme is there is no such thing that can't be scientifically proven. I don't believe in synchronicity or a coincidence or, whatever you want to call it. There isn't any of that. It's only the here and now and a very dense kind of view of life. And so we're looking at what's in between those. Where can you find a place that is going to bring you the most joy, that honors both parts?
Yeah. I think what I really got out of your book and us working together is this, meeting in the middle somewhere, because as I'm this, very, very pragmatic person and I've taken care of myself all my life. And so coming from very, very much yang, but you definitely opened me up to let in more of the yin and kind of find myself somewhere in the middle. And I think that's where I'm comfortable at right now. And maybe I will, go into even more of the upper chakras, but at the same time, like you say, I can't see myself going to the extreme, like these conversations that I'm having with Penny Pierce about kind of the new perception. Every now and then she loses me because it's just way too out there. And I tell her, oh, you lost me. I'm not following it. And it's interesting to have the awareness to say, I'm open to this conversation of, the divine and helping you and all of that. But every now and then I'm like, well, my mind is telling me this is not real, Sarah. What is she talking about? And I think, finding your way somewhere in the middle is, for me, that's all I needed, because it really helped me. Like, I don't know, I feel like such a weight has been taken off my shoulders, because I feel supported somehow, even though maybe like I said, I don't believe that the divine is going to pay for my bills, but I feel supported by another strength out there somehow. And I think that's what this journey about healing your money story is also about, is finding this inner peace and really realizing that you're open to receive, right? Because if you are blocking the reception somehow with these chakras that are blocked and all these feelings that are blocked, well, then you're making everything so much harder for yourself.
So true. I think that was a big realization for me, and always learning more about how we do this. As business owners, I think a lot of us work really hard and we have big ideas of what we're trying to, create in the world, and finding that balance. I'm going out of town next week to visit my daughter at the ocean. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I can't do and be who I want to be if I'm not taking time off to just enjoy life and be, fingers in toes in the ocean, just like, so important to have balance. While we've been talking about money and business and things, like, no question about it that there's this tone that we set when we spend more time in reflection. And the book talks about meditation and breath work and journaling, that we do owe it to ourselves to always carve out time for deep reflection. And the more we do that, the easier life can become.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such a beautiful place to end it, that it's not just about the money. It's really about finding this time for self-care, so that you are having the energy to create, and the creation will provide the money somehow.
Yes. Yes.
Read the book. I think, it's just such a beautiful way you look at money. We really, 5 years of creation, you put your heart into that book. And so I really want people to go over and see if it resonates. Please share the link again where people can find out more.
Sure. The mindfulmillionairebook.com is a great place to see a book trailer, learn a little bit more about the book. And I also have a podcast that's oriented to these topics. So you'll find that there as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leisa, for taking the time and having these conversations. As always, very deep and intense, but I guess that's the nature of your work. You chose to talk about money, and those are always emotionally heavy topics, right?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, so much. Thank you, listeners.
I really hope you enjoyed this 2-part episode. Go ahead, read the book. You'll find it on Lisa's site at mindfulmillionairebook.com or on Amazon or anywhere else where books are sold. Make sure to tune back in on Wednesday for another summer special episode with Penny Pierce. This week we talk about product, the P of product, and what people really want from a product or a service in this new era, in this new perception. Don't miss it. Also, the Gentle Business Circle is coming up soon on August 12th. So if you'd like to hang out with like-minded souls, connect, be heard and seen, and get your questions answered, make sure to sign up at sarahsandacroce.com/circle. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. Speak soon.